Kyle Davies gave the Royals a strong effort last night, but was stopped mostly by Mother Nature and the rain. Now Zach Greinke takes the hill, hoping to stop the Royals' 7-game losing streak and still in search of win number 1 on the year. Can his offense finally provide the Cy Young Award winner with enough run support? The Royals take on the Indians next on Fox Sports Kansas City. Scott Podsednik switched to the leadoff role last night, and it went fairly well, 2 for 5 on the night, but the Royals unable to score any runs. That has certainly been a problem for Kansas City as of late. Welcome up to the broadcast booth at Kauffman Stadium alongside of Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Joe Goldberg. Ryan Lefevre still resting that voice and hope to see him back here very soon. The Royals hoping to try to get a little offense going, Frank, and it just seems like as of late, even when the offense has been there, the pitching hasn't. When the pitching's been there, as it was for the most part last night, the offense hasn't been there.
Well, that's true, Joel, and what the Royals really want to do is make sure the pitching always stays there. Last night they did a good job of getting runners on, but just couldn't get them in, and I think that's the one area that they really going to have to really focus on is just concentrating on just put the ball in play and don't take the pressure off the opposing pitcher in those situations.
Well, you see these struggles offensively the last 5 games, but last night, and really the last couple of nights, Frank, they've been able to get guys on, and the top of that lineup was doing a decent job, but you see Billy Butler swinging and missing there, and a big opportunity, Jose Guillen in the first as well. Same kind of results in the 4th inning, getting guys on. Jason Kendall gets hit by a pitch, and they're moving the runners around, but again, another pop-up and unable to do any damage. Runners in scoring position, runners left on base, it's been a big story.
Well, the numbers tell a story. A 197 batting average, 1 for 10 last night, Joel. And 52 runners on total, but 13 left on base. And I think that's a big number. But those are the situations that for hitters to drive in runs, they really got to learn how to relax, get a good pitch, and realize that when runners on third base less than 2 outs, it's not about the base hit. It's about doing what the situation calls for.
They need to get some offense to get a win. They need to get some offense to get Zach Greinke a win. Last year against Cleveland, had 15 strikeouts in a game against the Indians. We will talk about that and Zach Greinke when we return. Visit Kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. Afternoon baseball at Kauffman Stadium. Fans will be treated to Zach Greinke, lifetime 6-8 against the Indians, but last year was 2-0 and also broke the Royals' single-game record for strikeouts in a game, breaking Mark Gubicza's mark back on August 25th last year, striking out 15 Indians. He will gladly take 15 strikeouts today. Most importantly, he will gladly take a win. Frank, how about the Kia scouting report on Zach Greinke?
Well, you can tell by the graphic how well Zach has pitched. One run support that tells you he really needs some runs in his games. He has competed like a Cy Young Award winner. He could easily be 3-1 versus 0-4.
We're trying to get him that first win today. Let's take a look now at the Indians lineup, brought to you by M&I Bank. And as Drupal Cabrera leading things off once again for them, seems like they always have a lot of Royal killers, and he is one of them, at least at Kauffman Stadium. Then Grady Sizemore batting second, Shin-Soo Choo, Travis Hafner, and Austin Kearns, followed by Johnny Peralta. That has been the same. Matt Laporta gets the start at first base today. No Russell Branyan, so that might be a decent piece of news. Luis Valbuena gets the start instead of Mark Grudzielanek, and Lou Marson is behind the plate. You see Grady Sizemore batting second. He always seems to do well against the Royals, including Zach Greinke. 306 batting average lifetime against Greinke. We've got Royals baseball coming up next. Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Joel Goldberg back up in the broadcast booth, filling in for Ryan Lefevre, who is out sick today, but we'll be back very soon, and we wish Ryan to get better very, very soon. I'm sure he's watching. We hope he is. Joined right now by Frank White, as you saw in the open there, and another Royals Hall of Famer, Paul Splittorff, here with us as well. Guys, obviously a huge game for the Royals, trying to get out of this 7-game slide, and And split, they've got Zach Greinke on the hill, so that's certainly a start.
You like their chances when he's out in the middle of the diamond. He gives them better chance than anybody else. He's going to be out there. 5th time this year the Royals have played a ball game to try to avoid a sweep. 3 times they've won. 1 other time they lost. Let's see what happens here today.
Well, I agree with you, Split. Zach is due for a big run-produced game, and if he gets some runs today, it's going to really make his job a lot easier. But the thing I like about Zach is he hasn't let it affect the way he's gone about his job, and you have to anticipate him pitching a good game today.
Asdrubal Cabrera is the leadoff hitter for Cleveland, and Zach right away with the first pitch strike. But Sednick trying to chase down that ball. It actually drops on the line, and as Asdrubal Cabrera is headed to third, the throw is not going to make it, and sort of a quiet triple on that one, as it almost looked as though Sednick thought that one was going foul, and it just kind of doinks right in there, Frank.
Well, Joe, you know, that left field corner is always sort of a Bermuda Triangle to raw outfielders here, and he just gets trapped in that corner, and that's when you got to realize you got to take a deeper angle to make sure the ball don't go around the wall, even if you give up the base hit.
Sometimes it hits that wall and actually picks up a little more speed as it gets in that gutter and heads on out towards that bullpen gate.
You know, Paul, before they put padding on that wall, it was all wood.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would really go all the way down on the 385 mark, and that's where all the inside the park home runs came from.
That was the type of surface as well.
First triple of the year for Asdrubal Cabrera.
I remember Zach had a game against Cleveland last year. We had a man on the scoring position with nobody out 3 or 4 times in the ballgame, and they did not score. So he's the best equipped guy that the Royals have to be in a situation like this and still get out of the jam.
That strikeout pitch certainly is a weapon and helps, and not that he's going to go out there and do what he did last August, but the 15 strikeouts against Cleveland, the now single game record by a Royals pitcher.
They got him, Frank, just to get that first out. After that, they might even pull that infield in part way.
Well, they might early. It's been because both teams had trouble scoring a lot of runs. Last night was a different game for the Indians also. Cabrera really has hit Zach well. Nine hits and 20 at-bats against Zach with 3 doubles. And sometimes guys just got your number. But the good thing is nobody's on base when he got the base hit.
If you have numbers like that against a great guy, do you just want to go ahead and retire and call it off, call off the jam?
Most times.
Well, I mentioned the strikeout, and at 96 miles an hour, Zach Greinke gets his first for the first out. Game time and temperature brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. 1:10 first pitch on time here with a 58-degree temperature at the start. No rain right now, just a nice, cool May day. So 1 out for Zach Greinke here, and now Shin-Soo Choo comes up, and he's somebody that definitely is always dangerous. And Frank and I were talking last night, but someone that can really do everything.
Didn't know what we'd have when he came over to play here in the States, but I have really been impressed with him. I think he's about the most complete outfielder. Of course, you think Ichiro, but he hits for average and power. Ichiro doesn't do that. And his arm, maybe a notch below Ichiro, but not much more than that.
You're right, not much more at all.
Zach, good command of the fastball already. If he can establish that in on the hands of both lefties and righty, that kind of opens up anything else that he might want to do.
Takes for a ball there. Choo ranks 5th in the American League in on-base percentage as well. So you talk about all the attributes, and really, in many ways, has those 5 tools that scouts are looking for. And maybe he's not going to hit you 30, 35 home runs, but he's going to get on base, and he's going to do just about everything.
Well, he's going to hit you 20, and he's going to get you 20 stolen bases, and he's going to get respect from guys going first or third. But the one thing that Choo does well is he just continues to get better. I managed against him in Double-A, and he's just gotten better ever since.
Zach goes to the well again with that tailing fastball, frees the hitter, back it up, get the inside corner, continue to work inside against this big left-handed hitter.
Is it possible for a 96-mile-an-hour fastball to have any more life than that?
It's always possible.
Well, that one jams him, and Callaspo's going to throw home for the play at the plate. Got him. Callaspo to Brian Pena, and Asdrubal Cabrera is out, and now Zach Greinke in much better shape. The question now is Brian Pena okay? He was limping a little bit, as was Cabrera after the play at the plate.
It's a nice play by Alberto, recognizing that he does have an opportunity. He makes sure he catches the ball, takes his time, and get Brian Pena a good throw. But Brian did tag him pretty high. He let that front leg get in there a little deep. Normally he'd take those shin guards and block that front leg out, but he left an opening there, and that's where you open yourself up for possible injury.
There's some errant chatter in my ear from the truck right now, and it brings me back. It looks like Brian, by the way, is okay, so that's good. Because I don't want to have to start describing the type of injuries that Ryan never wants to describe, like what Adrian Beltre had last year.
That ball got hit to about the only place the Royals could have it hit and have a play at the plate because the infield was back all the way around.
Quick ground ball to first base. Zach Greinke is out of it. No damage. We're scoreless after half an inning.
Followed by David DeJesus, Billy Butler, Jose Guillen, Alberto Carrasco, Brian Pena, Mitch Meyer is in the lineup, Yuniesky Bencourt, and now the Kia scouting report.
David Huff, not overpowering. You think, okay, ball down, Paul's probably going to sink, so you wanted to get the ball up in the zone a little bit. Hadn't been the ground ball guy that you think he would be. He's given up a lot of home runs already this year, and like most of the guys on the Cleveland staff, they have not seen a lot of run support, and that's until they got to KC.
First of two left-handed starters that the Royals will see in 2 days here. Tomorrow it'll be a lefty who's a little bit more accomplished in Mark Burley, but first order of business is David Huff, and Scott Podsednik is going to take called third strike as he sits down to lead off the game.
Talking to Tim Belcher, and David Huff's pitching coach, to say command of that fastball is the most important thing for him. He's got to be able to pound it inside to set up the changeup down the way, much like the way Belcher pitched with his riding fastball, the cutter, and a split finger pitch that he used here in Kansas City.
Well, isn't it amazing how all the pitching coaches, Paul, say the same thing? You got to command your fastball before all your other stuff come behind it.
Haven't seen many successful big league pitchers that didn't work it around the fastball.
Hitting coaches, on the other hand, all have kind of different styles. As you can see, John Nunnally standing right next to Tim Belcher, a couple of former Royals that are now coaches on the Indian staff. And we had a chance to catch up with both of them on the Hy-Vee Royals pregame show today. John Nunnally talking about his first major league at-bat, and it came here as Mike Aviles is going up the middle. And ho-hum, just another hit for Mike Aviles. He keeps on hitting. It's 424 coming into the game.
I think Mike is really an epitome of a hitter that does what the pitcher wants him to do. The pitcher wants him to hit the ball that way, he hits it that way. He wants him to pull it, he pulls it. So I guess the proper term is he does a great job of hitting the ball where it's pitched.
Mike Aviles is at first base, and David DeJesus batting .302 in his career against the Cleveland Indians. David last night batting third for the first time this year, and it hasn't been a huge sample size over the course of his career. We all know he's been better as the leadoff man, but he also has that high slugging percentage in the leadoff role and just trying to facilitate a little bit of offense here, and still unable to do it last night, although he almost played more like a leadoff man last night.
But I think the one thing you have to look at with David is his batting average. Even though he's got the high slugging percentage, number of hits always come into play, and when you're hitting 254, that means you're not getting a lot of hits in the right situation. So here you put him in a position to where he can be a little more beneficial in the middle of the order and not leading off an inning.
I talked to Trey quite a bit yesterday about David hitting third, and about every time it's been done, it's because the club has been in some kind of problem, either with somebody out with an injury, struggling offensively, and let's shake it up. The Royals have never really been committed to him being a number 3 kind of hitter, even though I think he'll be the same kind of guy hitting third. You mentioned not much of a sample size, and I asked Trey, what do you think the longest is you've ever done? In my mind, it was about 2 or 3 days. He said, I might have gone about 7 one time, but no more than that.
David hits the ball hard to right field. Shin-Soo Choo is there for the catch as Mike Avila scampers back over to first base. And not that Choo was going to throw him out. Avila knew what was going on. But, Frank, as you mentioned before, you got to be careful with that guy in right field.
Well, I just wait for you to make a mistake as a base runner. If you see you going back to the base, then he'll hold up. But if he catch you going toward second base, he's got enough arm going toward the line that he can make a strike to first base and double you off.
Billy Butler comes up now with 2 outs, 2 for 8 in the series. Has the Royals' only 2 RBIs so far in the series. Those were back on the first night of the series on Tuesday night. Last night, he had some opportunities, but was unable to deliver.
Frank, he's backed off the plate a little bit, hasn't he?
Well, he almost has to, because they've been pounding him inside. They've been running the fastball up and in, and really the number one thing is you got to realize it's a ball and take it, and then get the ball back out over the plate like he did against Perez last night, and take the ball to right field like that's his normal stroke. He gets in trouble when he tries to hit that ball and try to pull that ball inside.
When as a pitcher, the first time you see that, I say, well, okay, he backed off, I'll adjust and pitch away. But in talking to some of the guys when we played together, they said you need to go back inside, because a lot of times when you hit on that, in their head, they back up, but they might take that plate along with them. So you end up making a pitch that would have been on the inside corner. Now it's 4 inches inside. He may tie himself up again.
And the reason I say that, Paul, is because last night he not only got tied up with a right-hander sinker going in on his hands, even when Tony Sipp, the lefty, came in, he even got in on his hands. So that means that he's not recognizing this ball as it being a ball inside and not a strike. That's why he's going after it.
Billy, hard shot right over to Johnny Peralta, throws over for the force out. We are scoreless after 1 at Copley Stadium. chance to see Zach Greinke in some action at the plate as well. Slugger in his element today. Saw Dennis Leonard here earlier today, guys, as he was throwing some batting practice to Billy Butler.
I hope he didn't put Billy in a slump. Leo had a tendency to do that.
No complete game for Leo today. He's already sitting at home watching. It's always a fun day, though, doing all those experiments and the kids yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs.
What's really cool about it is the way the Fox 4 people get into it. I mean, Mike Thompson is probably the biggest Royals fan there is in town. Joe Lauria right there with him.
Yeah, Joe. Phil Witt was here.
Yeah. John Holt was up top here. He wanted to be the PA guy. He said he fell down in the field a couple years ago and wasn't going back.
Yeah, Don Harmon. he's a big fan also.
Well, Austin Kearns is up there right now. He's down 1-2 in the count, but we were talking last night about not really a find for the Cleveland Indians, but certainly a good success story to this point. A guy that was signed as a non-roster guy back in January, and he has really produced for him so far.
Everybody looks at this Cleveland ball club and say, well, this is a rebuilding team, and certainly they moved some big names off it, but hey, they've got 2 years in the last 5 where they've won better than 90 games, so they got some people back.
I mean, some guys that are familiar, too. I mean, it's not like it's a young team with a lot of young players. You know, I shouldn't say young, a lot of new players. They have guys, like you said, Paul, that have been successful, but for some reason, they haven't meshed as a ball club so far this season.
The other thing they have is their general manager, Mark Shapiro. I mean, he's put together winners a couple different times before for Cleveland, so you know he's got it on track again.
Just on the outside corner, and Austin Kearns strikes out, second strikeout of the game for Zach.
Joe, we talked a little bit about establishing the strike zone, getting the umpire calling strikes. They want to move the ball game along. Zach did that in the first inning. He jumped ahead of the first hitter. He kept throwing strikes. You got Sizemore on a strikeout. Then you go ahead and start working the corners. Once you get the umpire used to knowing, hey, I'm going to be around the plate on both sides, you get him calling strikes, he might continue to do it for you.
Johnny Peralta drops that ball into left center field, and he is on for the hit. Second hit of the game for the Indians. Visit FoxSportsKansasCity.com to see interviews with your favorite Royals. Get to know Royal outfielder Scott Podsednik as part of our Profiles in Royalty series at FoxSportsKansasCity.com. Matt Laporta now in there. He's playing first base. Maybe that's a welcome sign for the Royals with what Russell Branyan has done over the last 2 days. 3 home runs in the last 2 games.
You talked to Kyle Davies and Brian Bannister and say, I wish Manny Actor would have thought of that a couple days ago.
Joaquin Sawyer could be part of that group.
Yeah.
Well, Laporta was part of a very big trade a couple of years ago, back in 2008. He was the centerpiece of a trade coming over from Milwaukee for a guy by the name of CC Sabathia.
Well, and CC had a great finish to that campaign with the Brewhouse. He dominated the National League.
Cy Young type of numbers in less than half of a season.
Well, in both leagues.
Right.
American and the National.
Another strikeout for Zach as Laporta goes down, and so the third strikeout for Zach on the game.
There's been some discussion lately, what is Zach's best pitch, and some people think it's the slider. Well, I would say the slider is his best strikeout pitch, but everything comes around the fastball. Work at both sides of the plate. I mean, if you've got 95 to both sides, elevate when you want to. It's going to make your curveball better. It's going to make your changeup better, as well as that slider. He gets the second out of the inning.
Well, you know, the old timers always said that the best out pitch is a well-placed fastball, and I still believe that. And I think that what you said was really crucial there is that you can have a great fastball, but it may not necessarily be your out pitch. And that's what we, as hitters, we want to know what's the out pitch. And when you see a guy go to 2 strikes, get a hitter 2 and strike, can't close him, then you might say that guy doesn't have an out pitch, and you get a lot of foul balls before you finally get that batter out of there.
Luis Valbuena is ahead in the count 2-0. First time we have seen him make a start in this series. I think we got to know that name a little bit last year when he had a little collision with Miguel Olivo.
You know, Valbuena is a guy that they really thought was going to turn out to be a real fine second baseman, more the second baseman of the future. But he had a tough second half last year. Hit around 237, but one of the number that really stands out the second half is 83 strikeouts, and he really never did get going in spring training. And then talking to Rick Manning, the Cleveland broadcaster, and he was saying he just got pull happy. And when you get pull happy in this game, pitchers eat you alive. And you'll make a lot of outs.
Valbuena was really the key to allow them to move Cabrera to shortstop, get Peralta off shortstop and over to third base.
There's strike two. Valbuena was hoping for ball 4, but now Zach, after falling behind 3-0, is back in the count 3-2. And, you know, in Valbuena's case, guys, he's hitting 167, and maybe you stick with him and try to get that confidence, but they've got another guy batting 290 right now in the name of Mark Grudzielanek, who happens to have the day game after a night game.
You know, Joe, when you get guys like Grudzielanek at this point in their career, I mean, he knows he's there more as a supporting guy. You know, if you got a young guy that's ready to play and you got a guy like Grudzielanek to back him up and help him learn the position, that's ideal. But when your young player's not playing well and you're forced to play your older guy the majority of the time, then that's not a good sign for the ball club.
Runner is going, and another foul ball.
Pretty good battle going on now with Zach against Valbuena. The thing you know is Zach's going to be around the plate, working almost exclusively away, just off the plate and to the outside corner. Big item is everything's got good movement on it.
Another 3-2 pitch for Greinke. Runner going again, and again a foul ball.
When you look at Valbuena's average coming into the game, and you wonder, you know, why is he in this game against Zach? But you know, he is 5 for 14 against Zach, so you can tell he's on. You know, Zach doesn't dominate him; he's fouling off the fastballs, and some guys just see guys a little bit better than others.
And you're actually going to play the percentages. Do you want to see a right-handed hitter in Grudzielanek against Zach or a lefty?
Well, Valbuena takes the walk, and so Greinke, not something that happens too often, issues the 2-out walk, and that'll bring up Lou Marson. Another young player for the Cleveland Indians who was acquired in a high-profile trade for a former Cy Young Award winner. Talked about CC Sabathia last year. Lou Marson, part of a trade that sent Cliff Lee to Philadelphia. Former 4th-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies, and just 23 years old, drafted out of high school, a Scottsdale, Arizona kid.
I think one of the keys for his development will be Sandy Alomar Jr., who is on their coaching staff. Veteran catcher, now on the staff, so those two guys will spend a lot of time together. The Indians are really happy with the staff that they put together this year.
Zach quickly ahead in the count, 0-2. He's thrown 33 pitches so far today, so certainly reasonable there, although would have liked to have been out of this inning already instead of issuing the 2-out walk to Valbuena, but has a chance to get out of it right here.
Frank, I can just visualize a conversation with Zach and Trey Hillman in the clubhouse as they walk by today. Trey probably telling me, hey, I'll just see you after 9. Or Zach maybe just saying, you just stay over there. I'll be back after 9 innings. Just take over yourself right there.
It's your game, your ball. And I mean, you go back to the coaching staffs. When you look at Tim Belcher on the other side, I mean, he's the guy that pitched with attitude, and that's what pitchers need to learn how to do a lot of times. You pitch with attitude, and you need to pitch when, okay, it's your ball. You take this ball and you go out there and you'll tell me when I need to come get you. Otherwise, it's your ball. And a lot of guys don't pitch to the pitch count. They pitch to the fact this is my game. I'm going to go as long as I can.
And Bob Boone would let his starter go a long time. I mean, even if he got hit around early, he might end up with 110, 120 pitches, give up 5 runs in the first few innings, maybe be out of the game, but still be in there late.
It's about the attitude that you have going into the game.
You know how else that conversation this morning could have gone with Zach and Trey? It would have gone like this. Because sometimes
that's enough.
That's it. with Zach, sometimes you have a conversation. And Trey says that sometimes he'll just, every few days, he'll check and see how Zach is doing, but just kind of leave Zach and let Zach be Zach. Might have had some words, 9 innings, might have had nothing. Let the pitching do the talking, although the Indians are certainly not being cheated right now. Valbuena and Marson, a couple of really good at-bats.
Guys at the bottom part of the order doing a great job running that pitch count. They're going to make it tough here today.
Well, that's one thing that really kills your pitch count is those foul balls. You know, foul balls mount up, and before you know it, you're looking at 100 pitches in 5 innings, and you wonder how you got there.
A lot of guys get there by not having the ball in the strike zone to begin with, but that's not the case with some of the good stuff guys. I mean, they're in the zone, but that late life, it's just hard to put it in play.
Well, that's that hard slider, and when you put that slider finger down with Zach, you got to be ready to block his slider, because if he hits the dirt, I mean, it's moving pretty fast, and that fastball is the one pitch that catcher says the hardest to block, but his slider is almost like a fastball, so if you don't get that body out there fast enough, it'll scoop right by you.
Brian Pena had almost no chance on that last one.
None.
I mean, that's too far to the right.
I don't know if we've heard an official ruling on it yet. I would assume it's a wild pitch.
That's
so it is a wild pitch, and well, I was going to put it down too. Just wanted to hear for sure, and I bring it up because the new official scorer here today, our buddy David Boyce, as the official scorer for the first time.
He's been out here every night, paying attention, kind of getting ready for that. Joe Black has been the scorekeeper the last couple of nights.
That'll do it. Zach sits him. It wasn't easy, but he gets out of it. We are still scoreless after 1.5. Wasn't the seat that he was hoping for. Jose Guillen is going to step in to lead off the inning. Guillen 0 for 8 on the series, and Trey's alluded to it. He's had a little bit of bad luck here and there, but Jose certainly looking to break out after a very hot start to the year and down 0-2 quickly in the count.
If there's one guy on this ball club who looks to me like his person, it's going to be the DH right here. Those big swings. You guys have talked about that the last couple of nights instead of just saying get through the zone with your hands. I mean, the big swing. He's missing a lot of high fastballs.
You didn't get a whole lot of help on the second strike. That was a bit out of the zone. That one clearly was out of the zone.
Well, I mean, that's a classic 0-2 pitch. I mean, you want to set a hitter up for the outside, you got to pitch inside. And then if you want to back that pitch up inside, you can. That's the advantage of getting ahead 0-2.
Is it a pretty good indicator, guys, when someone, certainly a power hitter like Jose, is struggling or not struggling, to see the way he was chasing after that 96-mile-an-hour fastball last night from Chris Perez and being so over-aggressive with it?
Well, Joel, I think as a hitter, especially power hitters, there's just a tendency to be streaky. I mean, that's just how they are. They'll go through a stretch where they'll hit that pitch, and they'll go through a stretch where they won't. But most times when big power hitters get in trouble, it's when they try to overswing, and they forget about just relaxing and using their hands.
I thought a lot of the power hitters, you really need to find a way to expand the zone against them, either up or down or away from them. Somehow get them to swing out of what is their comfort zone, which usually is about thigh high to belt high out over the plate. If you can build out from there, you'll probably be in pretty good shape.
I agree.
Joel Goldberg, Paul Splittorff, and Frank White. Ryan Lefevre taking the day off, resting up the voice a little bit, and hope to have him back tomorrow. Jose Guillen still hanging in there at 3-2 count.
Ryan never gets to watch the Royals on TV, does he?
So, would you like to give a shout out to him?
Hope he's got his feet up. Enjoying Micah? Helping Sarah out today.
Helping Sarah. It doesn't matter if you're sick. You gotta help Sarah. You gotta play dad. That's all part of it. Now let's take a look at this afternoon's Sprint You Call It, and it relates to Cy Young Award winner Zach Greinke. How many wins do you think Zach will have in 2010? None so far. So A, 4-8, B, 8-12, C, 12-16, had the 16 wins last year, or D, 16 or more. Text 432-432 and enter keyword Royals and enter for a chance to win. See all the rules up there. Jose Guillen, ground ball over to third. Peralta going to throw for the out. Let's take a look at the You Call It sweepstakes. Unless you're a speed reader, we'll show it to you right now. A chance to win a suite for you and 11 guests to a future Royals game. Follow directions provided in a text bounce back message. You can visit sprint.com/sponsorships/sports for complete rules and free alternate method of entry. Standard text rates apply. Encourage you to jump on in. What do you think, guys? How many wins for Zach Greinke?
I'm scared to think about A. I don't even want to go there.
No.
By the way, the first winner of that contest is here this weekend, Sunday afternoon. The Red Sox will be in town. Who we got checking that day? Gavin Floyd and Brian Bannister.
Ground ball bobbled at shortstop and safe on the play, and so the Royals taking advantage of the Asdrubal Cabrera error. Alberto Callaspo is on here in the second. So I would say a nice, fairly easy call for, there he is, our friend David Boyce, the man with all of the power today. Congratulations to David Boyce, the official scorer. That's exciting for him.
Well, and David, I think David's more of a critical scorer. You got to get a hit to get a hit, which is what I like.
Hey, if he's going to criticize your inability to catch a ball in the press box, which he did 2 years ago.
Well, he criticized it until he had his own opportunity.
And that was a big error.
He's probably safe here. That press box is up there pretty high. He might not have to make a play here today. Tell you don't want to take him on in basketball. He's got some game left. Maybe you do, Frank. I don't.
I got great game, but poor knees.
And Split. I know you had serious game at one point.
It's long gone.
Yeah,
nothing but a memory.
We got to remember our age group too.
Well, when you're talking age group and all that, I think I hear that Big John Mayberry's still doing just fine in that age group.
In his age group, yes.
Brian Pena is in there looking for his first hit of the year, but only 9 at-bats. And it would be nice to just give him a little something today. He hasn't had the opportunities. Obviously, Jason Kendall has been the Iron Man back there, but only the second start of the year for Brian Pena.
Well, he's had some tough pinch hitting duty also off the bench, guys. So, Feliz was throwing 98 miles an hour. And those are tough duty in the American League because your pinch hitters don't get to hit as much. But here, David Huff has done a good job just keeping the Royals off balance with his curveball and kept them reaching for balls.
Potential double play ball, and they just get Brian Pena on the 4-6-3 double play. 2 innings in the books, no score at the K. will be that moment. So far, for the most part, guys, he has 4 strikeouts already in 2 innings. Had to work a little bit more than maybe he wanted to in the second at 39 pitches right now. Indians turn things over, and as Drupal Cabrera, who was not burned by that error last inning, as part of the inning-ending double play, takes first pitch for a strike.
Indians have to be pretty happy where they are in this ball game. Nothing to nothing. They figured they would be held down offensively, but now at the 40 pitches through 2 innings, I mean, they're doing pretty well and forcing Zach to work. They're hoping to get him out of here after 5 or 6.
Well, if they can do that, you're right, Paul. That would be a major accomplishment for them. You know, not being able to plate that run after the triple in the first inning, that was a big boost for Zach himself, and maybe a downer for Cleveland, and one of those, oh, here we go again kind of things. You know, the Indians, I think 16 of their 31 games, they've scored 3 runs or less.
And we talk about this game being a game of streaks, and they're much like the Royals, struggling to score offensively, but over the last couple of weeks, they've added about 30 points to their team batting average. So offensively, they're starting to come along a little bit.
Well, they've got some guys that accomplish it driving in runs, and I think that makes a big difference over the long haul when you've done it before. And the Royals are running into situations when they've been in that situation where the hitters have been a little impatient and chasing bad pitches and getting themselves out rather than letting the pitcher get them out.
You know, if you get a little bit of that confidence going, you're talking about some of the hitting, and here's a team that comes into Kansas City 11-18, obviously not playing good ball. They've got a shot at going out of here 14-18, and now suddenly you're 4 games under 500 as Drupal Cabrera is going to hit one in the right center. DeJesus will field it, and Cabrera on base for the second time in as many attempts. Well, our league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers, and we take a look at lowest ERA in the league with 2 wins or less, and Doug Fister is actually better than Zach Greinke on that as far as the ERA goes. I'm not sure if this is a category you want to be in or not. Obviously, guys, you want that low ERA. For the most part, these guys have not had the run support.
You're begging for help.
Sean Markham grew up near Kansas City, and I guess the plague has kind of hit him as well.
Maybe that's what it is. You either play for Kansas City, you're from Kansas City, or you pitch for the Baltimore Orioles.
Grew up in Kansas City. You talk about Millwood for Baltimore Orioles. I saw him in camp, and he looked like he might not make it to opening day. They were worried to death about him. He's come out throwing it pretty well early on.
Lack of run support.
Well, they've got 3 guys in their rotation that have had among the worst run support in the major leagues this year, and so that's a team that's struggling. They're starting to get some wins as well.
And they wouldn't say it publicly, but they're looking at the schedule this next week. And guess who's coming to town?
Oh, yeah, it's the Royals. Well, ladies, come out to the K tomorrow, May 14th, for the first girls' night out of the season, presented by Celsius Tannery. Get great pregame entertainment and pampering, plus the first 10,000 ladies will receive a Royals t-shirt. Proceeds from the event benefit Susan G. Komen for the cure of Greater Kansas City. For details, go to royals.com/girlsnightout. That is tomorrow night against the White Sox. We've got the kids today, the ladies tomorrow.
We probably got to wear a pink tie, don't we?
Won't have to. But do you have a pink tie?
I'll probably find something.
Okay. Do you have a pink tie in the wardrobe? Frank, you?
Not even close.
I was going to say, Frank, you might be able to pull it off, but just, no. You could pull it off. I have one pink tie and 1 pink shirt. My mom bought me a pink tie and a pink shirt when my daughter was born. I break it out for Mother's Day every year, but I didn't this year. Frank, you want me to get you a pink tie?
I have to check with the wife. I got to get her okay before I do something like that.
Teresa, give him the okay. He can do it. Pull it off. Grady Sizemore is 0 for 1 on the game, but a player that has hit the Royals well over his career and someone that has had some success against Zach Greinke as well.
Cleveland's got to be a little bit concerned about him coming back from the surgery and off to the slow start. Certainly hobbled last year. Now the pitch total and even 50. It's not because he's been out of the strike zone, 65% in the zone. He's capable of getting it near 70, but pretty much in line.
Yeah, a lot of foul balls so far in this game.
Well, no foul ball there. He misses. 5th strikeout of the game for Zach Greinke.
Nothing fancy about it. I mean, just put a little extra heat on the fastball, get it up in the zone. It looks like they want it inside, but the tailing answer makes it a little tougher for Sizemore to catch up with it. It's the first out of the inning. I thought they might do something with the base runner right there, a hit and run. I don't think you want Sizemore button, but they got some speed on at first base and going to struggle for runs. Last night, both teams tried to run the base a little bit, figuring it was going to be a shortened game and get something on the board early.
The ball is heading to DeJesus. Got to run for it a little bit, but does make the catch, and 2 outs for Zach.
Yeah, I agree with you on that split. I think the tougher the pitcher on the mound, the more things you have to do to try to get the defense to move and give you an opening to create a big inning. If you sit back and don't do anything, these guys will eat you alive, and the defense will play back and relax and make the plays. So you got to kind of unsettle things by creating maybe a hit and run or something like that.
The basketball coach this winter, his analysis was, we want to force the other team to play bad. You know, if we sit back and let them play their game, they're probably going to play fine. But we have to do something to force them to play bad, and that's kind of what you're talking. Let's move somebody around, force that defense to move a little bit. Maybe they'll make a mistake.
Travis Hafner steps in there. He grounded out to Billy Butler to end the first inning, and he's got sort of an interesting split coming into the day, batting .308 at Progressive Field. Away from Progressive Field, just .185, which has gone down just slightly after the first inning out. Pitch in there for a strike. Let's take an early look at our sprint, you call it, and still a lot of optimism in that 12 to 16 range. Hey, he did it last year, had the 16 wins last year. Join on in, text 432-432 and enter keyword Royals and the space as well. And that ball is just going to squeak through past Unieski Betancourt, and the Indians will have runners on first and second as Hafner with the single and Cabrera over to second.
Now, when you have that shift on the infield, you always run the risk when you have a guy like Hafner hitting the ball straight up shortstop, and you got the shortstop and the third baseman going for it. Now, the person that's going to go over at third base actually is the pitcher in that situation when you leave pitcher open. But you have second base, there's no play there, so there's no need for anyone to be there. But your first baseman can come up and make up once the hitter passes first base, then the first baseman can trail him into second base.
Seems like there's a lot of times when you put on a shift, infielders really don't know where their teammate is, and they end up running into each other. They're just not comfortable because they're not where they always are.
Well, you got to talk. You know, you got to communicate before the pitch, and you got to know if the ball is hit to Betancourt, is Aviles going to be able to get there, or are they just conceding one out in this situation? So you got to kind of know what the manager wants when you overshift like that.
Sometimes I wonder if you just did no shift at all. I'm not talking subtle shifts. I'm talking the Travis Hafner type of shift, the Jim Thome type of shift, what the result would be if you just played it straight up.
You know, Joel, I think a lot has to do with the pitcher. You got a pitcher that's throwing 95, 96. Then a lot of times you don't expect these guys to pull guys like that. So you can go more straight up. Now, if the guy's in the 90s or the 88, 80, 89, then you can play more of a shift and pull. So that to me, it's all about who's on that mound that day.
So that makes it interesting where Billy Butler is playing right now against Kearns.
Mitch Meyer trying to get in on this one, but too shallow, and that is going to fall in for a hit. And the Indians are on the board as Austin Kearns knocks in as Drupal Cabrera. 1-0 Cleveland.
A lot of room in that outfield. You got to respect the power of Kearns. So outfield forced to back up a little bit. This ball has some hang time in it, but still can't cover it in short right center field.
That's what you've done it many times, Split. You make the pitch you want to make, and you you get the kind of ball you want off the bat, but it falls for a base hit. So there's nothing wrong with the pitch selection. Kern was just strong enough to get it out over the infield.
Johnny Peralta steps in, and that ball is going to get by Unieski Betancourt. Another run comes in as Travis Hafner scores. Johnny Peralta with the RBI in his second hit of the game.
And Cleveland is really liking where they are right now.
Well, they're doing a good job of finding little holes in little seams in the infield to get the ball through. You had to shift over, and Hafner went to left field. And this ball here is up the middle. You know, Betancourt's playing a little more than straight up, and the ball goes through. So I think Zach is doing what he wants to do. He's creating the ground balls, but they just happen to be not where his infielders are.
There have been many times over the last year and a half that we've seen any team get 4 hits in 1 inning against Zach.
Not at all.
Bob McClure is going to come out. So what will Bob McClure want to talk to Zach Greinke about if he's getting the ball really where he wants to get it?
Guys, you just give him a break right now. Probably a little bit frustrated. Make sure that, hey, relax. Long way to go in this ball game. You got 2 outs in the inning here on the bottom part of the batting order. Continue to stay with the program. There's nothing wrong. Just stay with it. We'll get a break. We'll get you some runs.
Can he promise that last part?
Do everything he can from where he sits.
That's right.
Well, it's all about keeping him focused. You know, keeping him pumped up, and that's part of coaching. You got to make guys believe.
Sometimes you kind of get in the mode out there when it happens like this. A little blipper here and a ground ball there, and pitch count's kind of mounting up. You want to loosen up the whole world, throwing halfway up the screen. Well, that's going to hurt us a little bit more if you do that.
Yeah, try harder, you do worse.
It's the 60th pitch of the game for Zach, somewhere where he'd probably rather be in the 4th inning, not the 3rd inning. Struck out Matt Laporta in the 2nd. It was the 2 batters really after Laporta, Valbuena and Lou Larson, that really worked him over with a lot of fastballs and jumped that pitch count up.
7th man to come to the plate in this inning. Indians hanging a lot of their future on this guy. In fact, the people that follow him say if the Indians are going to be good, this guy's going to have to be in the middle of it. If he doesn't pan out, all of a sudden now they have a gaping hole.
He doesn't have a home run yet this year. Back at the University of Florida in 2005, he had 26 home runs as a sophomore. That was the most in the nation, and he homered in his first big league at bat as well. Or his first big league hit was a home run, I should say.
He's not a guy you want to see an aluminum bat in his hand. Too
No.
big and too strong.
I can name a few that you want to leave the aluminum bats somewhere else on the college field or the Little League field. He'd be one of them. Brandon would be one of them.
You can only imagine Brandon with aluminum bat.
Oh,
my goodness.
Zach now behind in the count 3-1, and he's going to want to get out of here, and that ball is hit to left field. Petsednik's got a chase. It's over his head, and it's up against the wall. 1 run is going to come around as Austin Kearns is going to score. Peralta held up at third base. Laporta in for the RBI double.
Zach would love to have this one back. This is a ball up and out over the plate, kind of in that power zone for a right-handed high ball hitter. In a little bit of trouble with the count right there, but you see the tailing action. Up just barely on the inner half of the plate. Those usually sail a long way. And that one about a third of the way up the fence out in the bullpen. Petsednik had no chance to make that play.
A rough 3rd inning for Zach Greinke as Luis Valbuena, the 8th hitter of the inning, walked his last appearance in the 2nd. Takes a pitch for a strike. The 24-year-old out of Venezuela, one of a handful of former Mariners on this team, guys that came up in the Mariners system that have now made their way over to Cleveland. Well, guys, this inning certainly started off innocently enough. A single to to Asdrubal Cabrera, but then 2 quick outs, Sizemore and Chu, then all the damage coming with 2 outs.
We talked about that last night, how pitchers can get those first 2 guys out, and you'd be amazed how many rallies start with 2 outs, and you don't know whether there's a letdown in there. And Paul, you could probably answer this better.
And he will answer it when we're back. Zach does get out of it, but the Indians up 3-0. For Love Fund for Children, the program was founded by former WDAF anchor Cynthia Smith in 1982. Marcia carried out the day-to-day duties of working with Kansas City social workers to provide assistance to children who otherwise might fall through the cracks. Quick out for David Huff as he retires Mitch Meyer to start the 3rd inning. David Huff, the lefty so far, has allowed 1 hit and faced 8 batters. Unieski Betancourt will step in and hit .375 against Southpaws this year.
You don't want a guy like David Huff getting all kind of confidence going against your ball club, but he beat the Royals a couple times last year, including one time here at Kauffman Stadium last August. So he is comfortable on that mound.
And Split, if you're out there, you're going up against a guy that just won the Cy Young Award, and you've certainly pitched against some phenomenal pitchers when you were playing. You see that and you get 3 runs on the board, that confidence has to grow, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You got to find a way to hold it because you guys have already had a really good offensive night against a guy like Zach.
Beautiful throw by Asdrubal Cabrera. Had the error in the last inning, but atoned for it at the plate and now makes a nice defensive play to retire Betancourt.
He made it look easy too, Joel. He goes right in the hole. He's got good balance when he makes his play. Gets that foot down, opens that shoulder up, and makes a nice strike throw to Laporta at first base.
You can see why they were thinking about moving him to shortstop the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's a nice player.
Has more range than Peralta. Peralta had the, a little bit of range problem, a little inconsistent with the glove, probably better suited for third base, and has enough jolt in his bat to cover it.
And what you see a lot of times in shortstops, Paul, not just Cabrera himself, but you see a lot of times when they make the difficult plays look easy, and then they get the routine plays, and those are one that they usually don't make so when they get in trouble.
Scott Podsednik struck out looking his first time out, and David Huff certainly looking for that same result ahead in the count, but Scotty does take a ball there at 1-2, and now hits that ball. It is heading back towards center, but going to fall in front of Grady Sizemore. Podsednik is on his horse and in for a double. So maybe the Royals can get a little two-out action going themselves and try to score a run.
Royals get a little bit of a break here. Huff had Podsednik way off balance with a slow breaking ball early in the bat, trying to get down in the way there. Never got there. That ball's out over the plate. Hit pretty well into center field. Bounces away from Sizemore, who went for the two-out grab at a few times. The Royals have a man in scoring position.
But you see plays like that a lot of times when a fielder falls awkwardly like that. There's always a potential for a shoulder injury. So he was pretty fortunate when you lose your glove and fall, you don't have any balance, and just all weight hitting the ground. So he was fortunate that he didn't hurt something on that fall.
Well, Mike Aviles already a hit today, so he raises his average from 438 to 441. Has hits in 7 of the 8 games that he has played in since being recalled.
Franklin, another one of the situations, you kind of touched on it last half inning. It starts with 2 outs, and a lot of them do start. But the one thing, if it starts with 2 outs, you can usually avoid that crooked number that Cleveland got in their half of the third. You can usually avoid the big one.
Yeah, you usually can. But I've just seen more rallies start with 2 outs where the team don't just get one. The opposing team don't just get one. Usually, whether it be our team or the opposing team, you end up with 4 or 5 runs with 2 outs.
Well, when you get to that, you've usually done something to help them out. You made an error, you walked a couple of guys, and you made a mistake or two to kind of help them along. It was unusual by Cleveland. They get 3 runs on 5 hits.
Aviles takes inside, evens the count at 2-2. See if Aviles can get this offense going a little bit with Scott Podsednik on second base. The Royals now have gone 12 straight innings in this series without scoring a run. Aviles, soft ground ball to Cabrera. He's going to make the throw and just barely get Aviles. So no score for the Royals, 3-0 after 3. Indians, as they are on top of Zach Greinke and the Royals, 3-0 here in the 4th inning. Larson, one of Zach's many strikeout victims on the day. 6 strikeouts so far for Zach, but 7 hits allowed. 4 of them coming last inning with 2 outs.
I think right now you see Zach just pound that strike zone. He knows he's in some trouble, not only down 3-0, but also that pitch total right at 70. And he's in the middle innings. He knows I'm not going to be able to finish it, but I got to go late, give my guys a chance to get back in it. So I think even if it's 0-2, I think you're on that zone. Try to limit every pitch you possibly can the rest of the way and try to extend your day the best you can.
I totally agree with that. And it's all about pitch count now. And just like you say, trying to get deep. And he's got a challenge. Don't want to throw it right down the heart, but it's got to be enticing enough to get the hitter to swing at it.
Joel Goldberg alongside of Royals Hall of Famers Frank White and Paul Splittorff. Ryan Lefevre with the day off as he tries to get his voice back. And our best wishes to Ryan as he is recovering and playing dad. And Zach Greinke strikes out Lou Marson for the second time. Royals Baseball is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of hearty soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. Tim Welke calling the first pitch strike against Asdrubal Cabrera, and the Ks are mounting up. Good to see the K meter going here at Kauffman Stadium for Zach as he's quickly out front. 0-2 against a guy that has been a bit of a pest to him today, Asdrubal Cabrera.
He really has. And when a guy's got your number, sometimes it's hard to get him off of you. And coming into this game, Asdrubal was 9 for 20 against Zach. He's got 2 hits today.
Well, Zach had the 15 strikeouts last August 25th against Cleveland. This year, his high strikeout game was in Toronto, 8, and this would be his second highest, and you got to think he's got a few more at least left in him.
Strikeouts are going to eat up more pitches.
Right.
Like to have something in play in the first one. Get a hit to one of your infielders.
I agree with you. Yeah, you got to get some early contact on first pitch and first pitch outs.
Well, that ball is put in play, and Mike Aviles is going to field it, and so not as quick a work as what split you're saying, first or second pitch. That one took 5 pitches, but he is down 2 outs.
10 pitch inning so far. You'd like to get 1 or 2 and go sit down and see if you guys can get something going against David Huff. You're in your second time through the lineup.
Grady Sizemore is going to step in, and he has been a multiple strikeout victim, just like Lou Marson has struck out 2 times so far in this game.
Cleveland's going to the plate ready to swing the bat. Let guys hacking early. They don't want Zach to get too far ahead of them in the count.
They're trying to stay away from that 2-strike slider. So they're looking fastball first pitch.
And so knowing that split, but also knowing you want to put the ball in play, what do you do?
I think you throw something down in the strike zone, hope you can get to the ground ball. Best thing you can have going is a lazy fly ball and a ground ball. Ground ball is usually better.
That ball popped up, and at the last second, Unieski Betancourt calls it. Looked like Costco had a hard time seeing it. We're back after this. Turbo pitch speed comparison. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. And Zach up there at 97, David Huff 93 miles an hour.
Not surprised with the 97 for Zach, but David Huff is normally 88 to 90. So he might have a little extra here this afternoon.
Well, he's done an excellent job, Paul, of keeping the Royals hitters off balance and get them reaching a little bit, hit some weak ground balls. They haven't really been able to stay back and really center him today.
David DeJesus lined a ball out to right field, and Shin-Soo Choo, he retired in the first. He's going to hit a ball to right field again this time, and there is no catching this one. DeJesus with his first hit of the game and first hit of the series.
Well, David does a good job most times hanging in against lefties and taking good swings, and there was a fastball he was able to get the bat out front and just hook the ball in between second and third, line drive in the right field. I mean, first and second in the right field.
Billy Butler steps in and grounded into a fielder's choice to end the first inning. So 2 for 9 on the series, coming off of a road trip where he hit .357. So Billy seeing if he can jumpstart this offense. Three runs on that trip, a homer and 5 RBIs.
Well, one of the reasons Trey decided to move Billy down was because of the ground in double play stat. But in this situation here, what Billy's got to try to do is get the ball up. And if he gets the ball up, then he'll stay away from the ground ball, and that stat should go down for him.
In fact, don't you see it quite a bit where a line drive hitter will hit into the line of double plays because they don't have the ball that high in the air?
They don't have it that high in the air, and with Billy, they slow the ball down a lot and try to get him out front, and when they throw the breaking ball down under his swing, he tends to roll over on it, and that's where you get that ground ball to shortstop.
Billy Butler into left center field. Grady Sizemore is going to catch that, and DeJesus will retreat back to first. Well, if you are 30 or older, here's your chance to enjoy a unique Major League experience. The Royals alumni will conduct their annual fans batting practice day at Kauffman Stadium on June 12th. For $300, you can take batting practice on the field with former Royals offering instruction and pitching to you. And you can stay on the field to take fly balls and ground balls. Plus, you get a pair of shorts, a T-shirt, 4 tickets to a Royals game. For information, call 816-504-4150. We said this last night. I love that our guys always show John Wathan because he's easy to find. He's behind the plate doing some scouting, and he scouts the American League Central. But he doesn't throw batting practice. He can't.
He's always got a fungo in his hand.
He can hit you those ground balls.
Oh, he is really good at that.
How about you, Split?
You're a good BP guy.
Frank's a great BP guy.
I like throwing batting practice. It's a lot of fun, especially when you got a time limit. You don't like it when you don't have a time limit, but
I hated it when I had to, and now it's okay. It's fine.
And you don't have to.
I don't have to. That's the big item.
The Royals have had base runners every inning, but once again, just like last night and for the most part the night before, unable to do anything with those runners. The difference today, they've only had a runner in scoring position once so far. Last night, all night long, and only able to deliver, well, not at all last night. Just had one hit last night with runners in scoring position.
Well, we talked about the lineup change, and what it does is put guys who were in the middle of the order down a little bit farther. So all of a sudden now you have a little more punch in 5 and 6 in the batting order. So that's another one of the effects of changing it up top.
Jose Guillen struggling a bit right now. Would gladly take a hit, a walk, maybe even a hit by pitch, anything to get things going here a little bit and get a couple guys on base for Alberto Callaspo.
Well, the thing when you big guys struggle, Joel, they don't always struggle longest in that bat to a bat situation, so he can always turn it on. on any count, and he can always hurt the pitcher on any swing.
DeJesus was running, Guillen swinging, and the foul ball, so 3-2 the count.
You feel pretty comfortable sending a base runner right here because Huff is not a big strikeout guy.
I just got to make sure he pitches first.
DeJesus was running, Guillen was taking, and Alberto Callaspo will indeed come up with runners at first and second. Members of the Royals' 1985 World Series team will take on members of the 1985 Cardinals in the 85 Classic presented by Farmland Foods. The Classic game starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, May 22nd at Kauffman Stadium before the Royals take on the Colorado Rockies at 3:10 p.m. For details, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. That will be a lot of fun. Can we revisit, that big Game 6 moment and that big inning for you guys?
Can you revisit it?
Bring in George Orta, and we could just replay it all. Why not? Okay, fine. Just go play the game. Right? Just go out there and get your hits, as you did last year. Did you not? You go out there. You got your double last year.
I paid for it.
You did pay for it. You should have seen Frank on the road last year. He was on the treadmill every day. He was getting in shape, and then he couldn't walk when this thing was over.
It's like getting ready for spring training. And feel good the day before.
At this point in your life, why do you want to get overexposed?
I know that's right.
Because there are a lot of people that want to see it.
Oh, I'm reaching that handshake and sign an autograph age. Chasing balls. Getting a little old to be chasing baseballs.
Callaspo slugs that ball down the left field, but it will hook foul.
I got to tell you, right now it's the first time that I really was happy I wasn't on that 85 team.
Right now.
Right, first time. What, 25 years later?
Well, the other problem in last year wasn't the 85 reunion, but I think it was an old-timers game, and so when you're playing second, you got Big John at first, and as was the case when you guys were playing anyway, who's catching all those fly balls? Callaspo's going deep again on this one, and it is out of here! Home run! Royals are right back in this game, tied at 3 as Alberto Callaspo goes deep to left field. Callaspo with his 6th home run of the season.
Well, when the team is having a problem, you look for a spark some way, somehow. And maybe that's it.
Well, Alberto did something. We were talking about the 85 World Series. He did something that Darryl Molly did. Hit the first ball out of the park foul and came right back, hit the next pitch out of the park fair. And that was a big home run for Alberto Callaspo and the Royals.
Brian Pena lines out quickly for the second out of the inning.
When you hit a home run, you got to see everything. And this year, he keeps his head right on this ball, and I think he knows right away as soon as he hits his ball, it's going to be out of here. Yeah, David's bouncing around, and I think David had a real good idea also that this ball is going to go out of the ballpark. So you don't see that very often.
No, you really don't. Back to back. Yeah. I mean, you get away with the first mistake, and you say, okay, fine. Got a break. Now you make a better one, then all of a sudden you make another mistake back to back. I mean, that just does not happen very often.
I just say shades of John Tudor.
Do you know which Cardinals are going to be here?
No, I don't know.
Not that you keep in touch with.
That's kind of your department, Mr. St. Louis.
I just worked there for 10 years. I didn't grow up there. I have no bitterness whatsoever. That ball will be caught in left field in foul territory, but not before the Royals strike for 3 runs on the Callaspo home run. Yes, Kevin Seitzer loving it. 3-3 the score. school day at the K, and now maybe the day for Zach Greinke to get that first win of the year. It wasn't looking so good at 3-0, but now suddenly Royals right back in this game.
Well, new life for Zach and the rest of the ball club. And Frank, I think right now you guard this like it's a lead.
Well, I mean, it's a new lease on life, and Zach's got to take advantage of it by cruising through another inning or two, hopefully for the Royals. And, you know, it's just kind of nice to see the home run ball. You know, sometimes when you're having trouble getting that single or that double or that sac fly to try to get runs in, sometimes it takes that big home run ball to kind of get things back on track.
There have been 13 innings since the Royals had scored as well, so maybe the floodgates are open a little bit. And, you know, guys, who knows as Zach jumps ahead here 0-2 against Shin-Soo Choo, who knows how much guys were pressing? I mean, the bottom line is that they weren't getting the hits in the big situations, and you know, human nature can take over.
Well, they always say you press till you get it done. You know, if you're not getting it done, you're pressing, and so when you start doing it, they say you relax and everything's going, you know, coming easy for you. But right now, I think what the Royals have to do, as from an offensive standpoint, is seize the momentum that Alberto Castro just gave them when they go up to the plate the next time around.
Shin-Soo Choo is 0 for 2 on the day, grounded into a 5-2 fielder's choice in the first inning, and at the time that really looked big, and it still is, but at the time Zach was looking good, but had given up the leadoff triple, and they erased Cabrera on the base paths, but it was the third inning that ended up being trouble. Billy with a nice play and the looping toss over to Zach Greinke just in time.
That's one of those plays where you're a little far off of first base and you're in between. Do I go underhand toss? I really need to get a little bit more on it. That ball has a chance to float out there, make it close to first.
Well, I'm like you. An overhand toss chest high is a lot better than that underhand ball that's floating over there, because the ball gets above the, you know, you being a pitcher, gets above your shoulders and you're trying to see the ball and feel for the base at the same time.
Right, and you'd like to have something kind of firm coming to
you.
you. It's easier to catch. And if it's up there just kind of floating around, a lot of bad things can happen.
Well, you know, most guys, you ever see pitchers, they get ball, they run it to first base, and a lot of first basemen don't feel comfortable when they go to their right of getting that overhand throw and hitting that pitcher on the run.
Travis Hafner is 1 for 2 and scored the first run of this game, and see the defensive alignment against Travis Hafner, a guy that has been drawing the shift for many, many years, and a guy that, I don't know how many people can say this, was the valedictorian of his high school class. It was a graduating class of 8. 23 people in his high school up in North Dakota. Well, you're still the best. You're just the best of 8.
Number one is number one.
Number one.
You know, the Royals don't really have the shift on after that base hit the left field, and Paul and I talked about it. It's about who's on the mound.
Right.
It's not about, you know, a lot of times about the Galvin report, it's all about the speed of the fastball. Always play defense off the pitcher's fastball.
Either of you guys valedictorians?
I was academically challenged, so I don't care how big the class was. If I could just get in the middle somewhere.
I was valedictorian at second base.
Yes, you were. You got the valedictorian as the valedictorian there goes down swinging and missing. The valedictorian of wins up here and the valedictorian of second base. Gold gloves.
Well, it's all about location. You want to stay away. You want to neutralize power. Right now, you have to be concerned with Hafner hitting one out of the ballpark. And you got to try to take away that power. Hey, if he'll chase a bad pitch, so much the better.
Well, he chased quite a few in that at bat, and almost like he was just conscious of something inside, and everything was running away from him. He tried to reach and just tried to foul it off and couldn't get to it.
Strikeout pitch was the 90th pitch of the game already for Zach here in the 5th inning. If he can get working a little bit quick and get into that 6th inning, or maybe quick enough to get into the 7th now with some new life. Austin Kearns is 1 for 2 on the day and knocked in the first run of a 3-run inning back in the 3rd. An update on our sprint you call it this afternoon, and it's starting to even out a little bit more. The naysayers have jumped in now, maybe as they dropped down 3-0 in this game. How many wins for Zach Greinke? And so pretty much split across the board. Still the majority at 12-16, and no one really feeling that 16 yet. Oh, they were looking for that called third strike, and Tim Welke saying not quite.
Well, it looks like they could have gotten it, too.
He broke out that curveball.
Tough to lay off that one.
With 2 strikes,
yeah.
Especially. I think you lay off it because you're fooled by the pitch.
Well, he lays off that one that was clearly too low, and so now a full count for Austin Kearns. Zach just misses, and for the second time of the game, he issues a 2-out walk. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, Ryan Howard and the NL East leading Phillies head to Milwaukee to battle Ryan Braun and the Brewers. Coverage of Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Budweiser begins at 3 p.m. Johnny Peralta now the batter with 2 out and 1 on.
Have you checked out that National League East this year? Washington right there. A game and a half behind Philadelphia. It's got to be one of the big surprises in all of baseball.
Huge
and Zimmerman's having such a great year for him. I mean, he gets some big hits. You know, I was talking to Derek Ladnier, and he feels like he may be the best third baseman in baseball.
Well, David Wright has certainly dropped off with the Mets, and he really hasn't been the same the last year or two. I would certainly contend that if we're talking best third baseman in baseball, the guy that we see in there is Derek Ladnier. The guy in Tampa is pretty good, Evan Longoria.
He's pretty good. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen Zimmerman play in person, so I just have to take the scout's word for it right now.
Going to get an opportunity late June. Boys are in there for 3.
Well, Ryan Zimmerman, one of those many Virginia Beach guys to have made the major leagues. Ground ball to Callaspo. He is going to throw over to second, and 101 pitches for Zach Greinke, but out of the inning, we're tied at 3. Joel Goldberg, Paul Splitter, Frank White, Ryan Lefevre taking the day off, resting his voice up. Our trivia question: who are the last 3 Royals pitchers to win 10 or more games in 3 straight seasons? My question is, are they all here today? I believe that one of them appeared on our pregame show today. But you would have had to have been watching the pregame show. Betancourt is going down the line, and that ball is up against the wall and going to bounce away from Austin Kearns. A stand-up double for Yuniesky Betancourt.
Good way to open the inning after the Royals get 3 runs on a couple of hits in the 4th inning. Keep that opposing pitcher in some hot water. Maybe you can get a man on base.
Well, we talked about season momentum after that Casper home run, and now we have a situation where the Royals really haven't done an excellent job in lately is advancing runners from second with less than 2 outs. So Scott Podsednik here. I think if I'm the defense, I'm looking for the bunt.
Well, Podsednik is going to hit the ball into the hole at shortstop. Betancourt is running over to third, and so the out at first, Betancourt safe at third base. It wasn't exactly the way they drew that one up, Frank. The result ends up working, but certainly some uneasy moments there.
Well, you got to give Betancourt all the credit in the world. I mean, he saw Cabrera going to his left. He didn't try to freeze him didn't have time to freeze him at second, so he waited for him to release. And when he released the ball, it didn't have a strong throw, so the ball floated over there, so he had a chance to go to third base.
I like the fact they didn't have the bunt on. You got a soft tossing lefty out there, and a left-handed hitter, you want him to pull the ball. Don't need to go after the first thing you see on a pitch that's away from you.
Well, I agree. It's just I always feel like if you don't feel like you can pull anytime you want to pull, then I think you should bunt in situations. But if you can get a base hit and get a big inning, now that's even more beneficial to the pitcher and to the ball club.
Well, the infield is in on Mike Aviles, who I was talking to, Frank, today, and split about him batting second. And, of course, Mike's happy batting anywhere. He said that. But he said he is extremely comfortable batting second. And you can certainly see it with the way he makes contact and the way he's able to go to the right side. He really, really feels comfortable there. Line drive right to Johnny Peralta for the out. All right, let's take a look back at our AT&T trivia question. And I already got slapped on the wrist for giving a quick hint, but I would think that the pitching coach that is here for Cleveland will be one of them.
I got a sleeper in there.
Okay.
I'm going to take right-handed starter, opening day starter, about 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 years in a row. St. Louis Cardinal after us, Jeff Suppan.
Soup, that's a good guess.
How about Gil?
Gil Mess is a real good guess.
And I'm going Tim Belcher.
That's the given. He's in the ballpark. I mean, these guys they got an MO. They always put a guy in the ballpark.
Well, so is Jeff Suppan here today? No, he's in the Milwaukee bullpen.
That's what I said. He's the gimme.
All right, so that's the gimme. There's a sleeper. All right. Here's the answer. Now that, you can't see all of his face because he's hiding kind of like the guy on the Home Improvement show, but that's Tim Belcher. Flash Gordon.
Flash is the sleeper.
Wilson. Yeah, Wilson on Home Improvement. That's what Tim Belcher looks like there. You know, Flash Gordon was the starting pitcher the day back in 1995 when John Nunnally hit his first home run. Flash Gordon was the starting pitcher for the Royals. Melito Perez was the starting pitcher for the Yankees.
And Melito Perez was a former Royal.
Was he in the ballpark?
Not today.
That ball is just going to fall in front of a diving Grady Sizemore. Unieski Betancourt comes around to score, and the Royals on top, 4-3 with 2 outs in the 5th.
Frank, once you get the first one, it just makes it easier for everybody else.
Well, it really does. And, I think that the Royals come up with a big 2-out base hit. I mean, this is a good pitch by David Huff, and David stays on it, and Sizemore does everything he can to try to make this play. But he's just been a little bit short all day out there in center field.
Softest ball that David's hit all afternoon. Line drive to right, out. Line drive to right, base hit. Soft single to center and an RBI.
And he'll take those soft ones as well as the hard ones.
That is not a soft one. Billy Butler deep to center. It is over the head of Sizemore, and he is going to field it and throw it in. DeJesus coming around to score, and he is going to do so. Royals on top, 5-3 as Billy Butler with an RBI double. The offensive drought is over. You guys said it, those first few runs, and maybe then things could start to happen, and they have here at Kauffman Stadium.
But sometimes it takes a home run to open it up. But Billy did what Billy does best, and he allowed Huff to get the ball out away from him, but he stayed through the ball and drove it to right center field. and that's about laying off the ball inside. So that's what he does well. And David, with 2 outs, he's off to the races, making good turns around each base and cruises into home plate.
And Huff is starting to get the ball up in the zone a little bit,
and that's what causes it.
Jose Guillen also to center field. This one, though, going to be fielded by Grady Sizemore, but not before the Royals add 2 more runs. They are on top, 5-3. Scoring last inning, David DeJesus was knocking him around for the go-ahead run, and Zach Greinke split finally. Those are runs.
Well, now you got to talk about how they're just falling out of the sky right now as far as Zach is concerned. He averages about 2.5 runs of support per ball game, so double that and you're feeling pretty good, but don't get in a hurry. Just stay in the strike zone, keep challenging hitters.
Matt Laporta flies out quickly on one pitch, and that is exactly what Zach Greinke could use at this point, as he is just over 100 pitches.
Well, the other thing he's got going for him, we're not in July where it's 105 degrees. I mean, it was mid-50s at game time, comfortable, so endurance won't be a problem. He's not fatigued at all right now, I don't think.
I think this is one of those games that the pitch count, you can up the pitch count. If let's say if you got 110 in your mind, if he's strong going to that 110, you can take him right on through that. If he's struggling going into 110, you might want to take him out.
Frank, that's a good point. I think you look back to the last couple innings, a 1, 2, 3, 4th inning, a 2-out walk in the 5th. If he has an easy 6th, I guarantee you'll see him for inning number 7.
Yeah, I wouldn't let the pitch count scare me today, and just for all the reasons you said, Paul, about the weather and so forth. I mean, he's definitely a strong guy, and he's more than able to do it. But I think it's just one of those deals where you got to you try to limit as many outs coming out of that bullpen as you can.
And I don't think you let him pitch in a lot of trouble in innings 7 and 8, but if he stays out of trouble, I think he's good to go.
I agree.
Well, just in case, the Royals' Robinson Tejeda just got on the mound about 5 seconds ago, starting to loosen up, and Zach Greinke evens up the count against Luis Valbuena, 2-2. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Another foul ball off the bat of Valbuena, and did that in the 2nd inning, and now doing it again, making Zach work a little bit, and that would certainly be a way to get Robinson Tejeda into this game. Ground ball right to Micah Vilas, and so quick 2 outs for Zach Greinke. Lou Marson is now going to come up, and he has been a strikeout victim on both times to the plate so far. Zach with 8 strikeouts in the game, and first pitch swinging and a hit out to left field from Marson.
Zach had to work hard in inning number 2. Inning number 3 was really the long one for him. Keep it down somewhere around 10 or 12 here in this inning. We're forward to inning number 7.
Bottom of the order in the second inning that was giving him some problems, and nobody down there, at least in the 8th and 9th hole, had a hit in the game until Marson just did, but they really started that trend early on of a lot of foul balls and making them work, even though Zach has looked very good, just kind of staying alive throughout the game.
You can have a good at bat without getting a base hit.
Oh, definitely.
Making some things happen.
That ball right at Billy. He does find it, will take it himself, and out of the inning. Royals lead it 5-3 heading to the bottom of the 6th.
To the showers.
Roberto Callaspo, quick shot and grabbed by Matt Laporta for the first out of the inning. That and the fact that Robinson Tejeda is still out there throwing, and that might be it for Zach Greinke. Brian Pena stepping in, just second start of the year. And Frank, he was telling me that he was more excited today than he was nervous. He already got that one start out, and he said he caught Zach. He's caught him twice last year, had to win it in no decision. But he had that rough first start in Toronto and a lot of balls getting past him. And I said, how tough was it? And he said, actually, I had a good talk with Frank White, with you. And he said that you really helped calm him down a little bit and told him that he was being a little too hard on himself. And just, go out there and go out there and enjoy the game and play it.
Well, Joe, you hate to see a guy. Brian takes this game so serious, and he takes his job with the pitcher that day more serious than he does, his at-bats. And when the pitcher doesn't do well, then he doesn't do well. So basically, you just caught him feeling kind of bad for himself, walking with his head down. Just basically just say, look, everybody goes through this. You haven't played in a while. You'll be right back out there, but yesterday was yesterday.
Yeah, in a way, he has the hardest job of anybody on the ball club because he's not going to play very often.
Right, and he's got a lot of time to hold his head down, so he's got to be as positive as possible when you don't play every day.
How Brian Pena going deep, but Grady Sizemore a beat on it as he heads towards the track and makes the catch. Pena 0 for 3 on the day, but hitting the ball hard there. And Major League Baseball and People Magazine are looking for individuals who make a difference in their community. 30 everyday All-Stars will be honored at the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. To nominate, go to peopleallstars.com.
You know, Frank, talking about a guy who's not going to play very much, two managers, completely different philosophies on that we played for. You know, Whitey had all of his backup guys in. He wanted to get them time. He was a backup player for much of his career. And Dick Hauser, he didn't. You know, he just said, hey, he's a backup guy. I'll play him when I play him. It's his responsibility to stay ready, whatever it takes, time in the cage, extra BP, simulate the game, whatever. Whitey made an effort to get his backup guys in. Dick really did not. Both of them very successful in their own right, but doing it a different way.
Yeah, Whitey always looked for games that were either winning a lot, getting beat a lot. He gives guys a couple innings off here and there. Dick had the backup guys begging to play. I mean, Greg Pryor was playing behind me, and he locked it next to me. He says, "When are you going to take a day off?" I said, "Well, we came up through that time where you didn't just ask for days off. Nope. You waited for the manager to give you one, and they sort of controlled that whole thing."
A little check swing, and it's going to work. Excuse me, and he will take the hit. Mitch Meyer with his first hit of the game.
Sparky Anderson always said, I'll lose some games in April getting some of my backup guys in because I'll win those games in July and August because I'll keep them sharp.
You do really have to keep them sharp, and if you're going to win any division, your backup guys usually have good years.
You have to think that for Brian Pena, and of course he's got as much pride as anybody, and he wants to play. Everybody wants to play. But he also knows that he is backing up a guy that takes a lot of pride in being in there almost every single day, and he's been doing it for a long time. Unieski Betancourt down the right field line. That is going to fall. Mitch Meyer is going to round third. He is heading home. Dave Owen waves him. Throw is not going to get there. A double for Betancourt. Meyer scores 6-3. Royals on top.
They got to be wondering how to pitch to Unieski. A double the left field his last time up. Now a double up in the right field corner. Just doing a good job of covering the plate.
Well, that's just not over swinging, Paul. He's going with the pitch, and that's what when he does it, he's successful. Here you get the relay throw from Shuey. He actually makes a bad relay throw, and so that's why he didn't really have a play at the plate.
David Huff is done after 5 2/3 inning. Pitching change, we'll tell you about it. Chevy call to the bullpen when we return. Dropped that one just in there to score Unieski. Betancourt, Billy Butler followed with a double to bring DeJesus all the way around. It was a 5-3 lead, and then right here in this 6th inning, Unieski Betancourt going opposite field down the line, scoring Mitch Meyer, and that's where we stand right now. Royals on top, 6-3, they chase lefty David Huff, who they finally started to figure out in this one. Kevin Seitzer, not sure if he's ready to relax, but he can breathe a little bit easier. Rafael Perez, the new pitcher, as the Indians and Manny Acta stick with a lefty. Scott Podsednik on the game is 1 for 3, strikeout, a double, and a ground out, so at 318 on the season. Seeing if he can keep the 2-out rally going.
You'd like to keep the rally going against a guy who has struggled this year. Perez in his 11th outing of the year has had a ton of base runners on against him. 21 base runners and 7 in the third innings worked.
Yeah, that strike zone's been awful hard for a lot of pitchers to find this year, Paul.
Hitters are batting .469 against him this year.
Yeah, how about 15 hits in the 7+ innings?
Podsednik is going to pop that one up, and Asdrubal Cabrera will catch it. But Royals add one more after 6 innings. They lead it 6-3 at Kauffman Stadium. Eight strikeouts in the game on 112 pitches he has done after 6 innings. Alberto Callaspo, the 3-run home run, his 6th of the season, and DeJesus and Butler with RBIs in the 5th inning, and the Royals with a 6-3 lead in this one. And the Chevy call to the bullpen takes a look at Robinson Tejeda and split one of the, at least recently, consistent performers out of the bullpen.
Well, he really has been recently, and even before that he had a couple tough outings, but was solid before then. So the Royals hoping that he can put together a long stretch of effectiveness, especially here this afternoon as he picked up Greinke. Greinke goes 6 innings, 3 hits are all earned, 8 punch outs to go with 2 walks.
Grady Sizemore will be the first batter he faces. And I don't know if you guys were superstitious when you played or not. I know a lot of players are, but you know, Robinson Tejeda told us during spring training that the song he loves to come out to is Crazy by Gnarls Barkley. And then they caught on to that here at Kauffman Stadium, started playing it, and he was walking everybody. He said, never again. He said the other song that he loves is Johnny Cash. Was it Ring of Fire? Mm-hmm. He said he likes it because he's on fire. That's what he said. I like that song, and I'm on fire, and well, that's the song they just played for him. So maybe that's it. If he pitches well today, we're going to hear that again next time. Sizemore drops down the bunt, and Pena, nicely done.
Was that even a factor when we played?
Did you guys even have walk-up songs?
No. Brian Payne does a good job here. You know, first of all, he gets out quick. He gets around this ball. And he did a real good thing there, Paul. And what they taught, get it with your bare hand and not with your glove. And made an excellent throw to Billy at first base.
Well, especially the catcher. That catcher's glove's a little tougher to handle than some of the other ones. But quickness is important right there. Sizemore really playing it well for Cleveland. They need base runners. Good way to get on.
I think walk-up songs are like ringtones on cell phones.
If you did have a walk-up song, Frank, what would it have been? Are there any songs about pink ties?
You know, Bergmeyer would always say when you ask those hypothetical questions, he would say, it'll never happen. That's the Tommy Bergmeyer always coach, you know. He always present him with hypothetical questions, and he'll say, it'll never happen. Or you say, well, I thought that pitch was a strike, and he'll say, well, what did the umpire say?
Ball hitting the left center field. It is carrying and going to head to the wall. Podsednik will field it, and Shin-Soo Choo is in for the double. Make plans now to head to the K for the kickoff of interleague play when the Royals take on the Colorado Rockies on Friday, May 21st. And be sure to stick around after the game for another great Fireworks Friday presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee. For more details, go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS. Tejeda gives up the one-out double, and big Travis Hafner will step in, as the Indians now will be the ones trying to climb back into the game. And Trey Hillman really needs Robinson Tejeda to have a solid one, if not 2 innings, and get that ball, as he says, to Jack.
And I'd like to think he'd like to get at least 2 innings out of Robbie, the way he's been throwing. He's very capable of doing that. No, I'm just kidding with you, Joel.
You can't. I mean, you're allowed to kid. You're sitting next to Split.
I never had a walk-up song, but I did have a couple ringtones. And
you had ringtones?
Yeah, on my cell phone. You know, when people call me. You know.
Now. They didn't have ringtones when you were playing.
No, we didn't have cell phones when I played. You had box phones if somebody was lucky to have one.
Box phones.
Strap it onto like a backpack and carry it around.
Kids now, what do you mean you didn't have cell phones? Split, what's a cell phone?
Didn't have a walk-up song? Don't have a ringtone?
Don't have a cell phone?
Life is good.
Don't have a cell phone.
Yeah, I'm good. Well, I don't feel cheated at all.
Can you break out your computer then?
What's that?
You get enough information off yours for both of us.
That's true. You keep me busy looking stuff up.
Yes, I know you can.
Want my ringtone?
No.
Shin-Soo Choo is the base runner at second base, and Robinson Tejeda dealing right now with Travis Hafner.
Bullpen guys important right now to keep the season behind you. Forget that. You go from here on forward, try to pick up your ball club. Don't worry what happened over the last few weeks.
Well, that is a broken bat and a bat in fair territory, a ball in foul territory, and they will pick up all the pieces and try again at 2-2.
And the reason you don't want to think about those numbers, you talk about picking up pieces. Well, there's some big pieces coming out of that bullpen. The numbers are not good. Everybody knows about it. Been beaten like a drum. So you look on forward and say, hey, I can be something a little bit different. Tejeda has shown signs from time to time that he can be solid.
I thought that Tejeda's season, at least from that point on, really turned around at the start of the road trip in Tampa Bay, Frank, that Saturday night, and went out there in a big situation. Evan Longoria struck him out and then got a line-out double play, ended up facing 8 batters and getting 9 outs.
Well, one thing he did, he started getting the ball down in the zone, and he started commanding the ball first pitch, and that's how you get strikeouts. And he pitching in the zone, and rather than pitching all over the place, so he just brought his pitches into a little quadrant, and he was good at it.
It's 3-2, and the one thing he needs to stay away from is something that Royals pitchers have struggled to stay away from in this situation, or any situation from that matter, and that is the dreaded walk.
Well, he's also facing a hitter who's been hot over the last 5 or 6 days. After he got off to a slow start, but he's seeing the ball a lot better right now.
Tejeda has not allowed an earned run in his last 11 innings pitched, and you want to talk, and of course ERAs can quickly get inflated early on, but his ERA is just absolutely dropped. There is that dreaded walk, so runners on first and second, and maybe now a little bit of uneasiness at the ballpark, but you know, Tejeda's ERA dropping from 12.96 to 5.59. The Indians with 3 runs so far on the day, and you see as Austin Kearns come up that he's one of the Indians that was a part of one of those runs.
You know, Joe, you talk about that ERA for the relief pitchers. I don't think that's all important. I think, how have you done on the first batter, and what are you doing with inherited runners? You don't always come in to open an inning. A lot of times you come in, the fire has already started. You got to find a way to put it out. You got to get out, and you got to at least strand some of the runners.
You got to minimize the damage, Paul. Don't let the game get completely away. And that's where you find Tejeda right now. Is he's in that position and hold the game where it's at. Don't let the Indians climb back in it.
Well, I'm speaking to what Split just said. He did get out the first batter, so that was important. Now he's created some of that own mess, so he's got to put out a little bit of his own fire here. Possible double play ball. Betancourt, Aviles to Butler. Gets the double play, and they're out of the inning. Robinson Tejeda does the job. Royals leading 6-3 at Kauffman Stadium. Panera Bread. Baltimore beats Seattle 6-5. Luke Scott with the grand slam to give the O's the win in that one. Detroit behind Justin Verlander blanks CC Sabathia and the Yankees. That's certainly a great pitching matchup as the Tigers win that. Texas and Oakland tied up 1-1 late in that one in a battle for first place in the American League West. Robinson Tejeda got in a little bit of a jam, but gets himself right out of it, and so faced 4 batters in that inning. And if he can get through one more inning and get the ball to Soria, Royals will be in good shape. Mike Aviles leading things off, bottom of the 7th.
Indians travel after today's ball game. They'll be in Baltimore tomorrow night. The road trip finishes up down in Tampa Bay.
The Royals will follow them to Baltimore next Monday and Tuesday for a quick 2-game series. You know, Mike Aviles said he had a nice conversation with Mark Grudzielanek. He got on base yesterday, and And Grudzielanek said to him, you keep hitting the ball the opposite way like that, you're gonna make yourself a nice career batting second and having a good career. And he said, well, I learned from a guy who really did it well back in 2008, the second baseman that did it pretty well. That would be Mark Grudzielanek. And you see Mike Aviles 1 for 3 today, keeps on hitting and has the ability to do a lot of what Mark Grudzielanek has done throughout his career.
And Grudzielanek got a base hit to right field here last night, came around to score a run in the inning. So, yeah, first-hand experience with it.
And that ball over the shortstop, and quick out there for Rafael Perez. David DeJesus going to come up, and it has been, I don't want to call it a breakthrough day for him, guys, but after switching over to the third spot in the batting order yesterday and doing okay. I mean, he had a sacrifice, had a walk in there, doing a little bit more damage today. He's 2 for 3, 2 runs and an RBI in this one. Yesterday was 0 for 2 with a pair of walks and a sacrifice. Not typical numbers that you would see from a number 3 hitter.
Well, right now the Royals are just kind of like in search mode. Sometimes, and Paul's, he can attest to this, sometimes you got to do what the team needs. It's not about where you feel comfortable all the time. It's where where you best fit the team's needs, and then you as a player, you have to make that adjustment to what the team needs for you to do.
David, I think his approach is the same whether he's hitting first, second, or third. He knows what kind of player he is. Get a pitch to handle, hit it hard somewhere.
Yeah, it's all a mental thing. I mean, if no matter whether you bat first or fourth, you are who you are. You can't be something that you're not, and you just got to go in and just be yourself. And I think you saw a little bit of that last night with the bunt, with runs at first and second.
That's an approach, Frank, that you took throughout your career, batting literally everywhere in the lineup and taking that into the postseason as well, saying, all right, even if I'm batting cleanup, I'm just going to be the kind of hitter that I am.
Well, that's all you can do. I mean, you manager tell you you're going to bat fourth in the World Series. That's a little different. I mean, you get a little nervous about things like that, but then you come to grips with it. You say, look, I told Dick Howser, I said, if I go in there and I do well, they're right about it. If I don't, they said I shouldn't have been there in the first place. So,
it's really
I just relaxed and went ahead.
It's really more important than the guys you have around you, not where you are in the batting order.
I think the only pressure in the World Series batting fourth is I knew every time Whitey had a chance to walk George and pitch to me that he would do that. So you knew you were going to be on the spot a few times in the World Series.
They just always hit me ninth. I was all right with that.
Until they stopped hitting you at all.
Then they hit Hal fourth.
How'd that trade work out?
Been pretty good. Traded number 9 guy for a number 4 hitter, yeah.
But back when you were hitting, a nice stick, right?
I had a good time with Jerry Mayo as my catcher because he didn't hit much and I wasn't too far behind him. They put the line up. How can they bat you 8? Shut up, Rook, and just do what I say. Okay. He was a good guy.
I love Jerry.
The stories. Some that can be told, and most that cannot.
That was the first time I faced Eloy Perry. He knocked me down. I looked up at Nestor Shalak, and he looked down at me and said, "Welcome to the big leagues, Brooke." I knew then I had to make some changes.
All right, David DeJesus takes the walk, and so Billy Butler will come up with DeJesus on. And I was telling Frank during the road trip an article that I was reading about Goose Gossage on the mound, and manager out in San Diego told a rookie, John Kruk, at that point to go out and stall and go talk to him, and he got out there and wanted to say something to him, and Gossage said something not all that friendly back, basically, get off my mound, and Gossage never said a word. He walked right back. I was telling Frank that story, and Frank said, I had that same thing happen with Split when I was young.
I knew where that was headed.
And all these years later, you're comfortably sitting next to each other in the broadcast booth.
But I
think that was Shea Stadium, wasn't it?
I think it was here. I'm not sure where it was, but I know that it was one of the few times that managers asked a middle infielder to go into the mound. And heck, what am I going to talk about pitching? Paul,
why would they send you and not Cookie?
I have no.
I mean, that's not fair.
So I went in and Paul said, "Get out of here."
Just like that, I'm sure too.
That wasn't just like that.
So maybe things weren't going all that well at the time.
No, they weren't.
All right, so one of the words might have been rookie. I don't know, were you a rookie at that point, Frank?
Oh, yeah, I was a rookie.
I was going to say, who's yelling at you, kicking him off the mound? You were a rookie. One of the words was rookie, and the rest of the words probably can't be mentioned.
See, that's not fair. You can't send a rookie out there to tell a guy. I mean, you send one of your better guys.
Billy's going deep. Grady Sizemore back to the warning track, going to get it. DeJesus will retreat to first base. Well, Cookie didn't probably want any part of it. Why am I going to deal with Split if he's grumpy?
You talk about Nestor Shylock, and I really got along with him great, although he was a tough umpire for pitchers. I mean, he had to have a lot of the ball on the plate. I just told him one day, I said, Nestor, if you're going to make me get that whole ball on the plate to get a strike, I said, somebody's going to get hurt.
But he was tough. He had an edge to him, too. So, he was the guy that didn't take no stuff.
I got along with him great. He thought I was a Russian, and I think he was a little afraid somehow. I mean, it was funny. We hit it off right off. Maybe we laughed. I don't know what happened, but, yeah, we got along great.
Jose Guillen also out to center field. This one is going to be caught. Split, we're going to send you out to Rivals to get ready for Boulevard Royals Live. Great work here today.
I'll try not to close it down like it was closed last night when we got there.
Don't close it down, and don't yell at anybody to get off the mound. Robinson Tejeda is coming back to the mound. We're back after this. Reunite 11 years later in Hockeytown. Follow the journey of Catholic Central versus Trenton. ReplayTheSeries.com. Nice attendance here today with school day at the K. It filled up with all the kids, 28,361. And Johnny Peralta popping the ball up. Mike Aviles going to get under it for the first out. Well, Frank, we chased Split off. He's going to go get ready for that post-game show.
Yeah, you really chased him off.
Did I stir it up there?
Some guys don't like to be reminded of certain things when they get older, you know.
But you got to understand that working with Split every day, he likes to give it to me pretty good. So any chance I get to get a little shot in there?
He's pretty quick.
Split's very quick. That's what I figured. I can get like maybe one shot in for every 10. I'm doing all right. The stories, though, and I don't know if they are exaggerated over the years or not, but regardless, they're always fun.
Thank God we mature.
Well, you got to at some point, right? Matt Laporta is going to send that ball in the center field. That'll drop for a hit in front of Mitch Myers. So the Cleveland Indians at the bottom of the lineup going to try to get a little offense going. And And there is their closer, Kerry Wood. They obviously would love to have him in a save situation at this point, trying to get him a little bit of work. I've been reminded that the best defense against split is a good offense. There's Tim Belcher, pitching coach, and we mentioned that 3 straight years of double-digit wins, and he's telling us another one of those great stories, telling Jeff Montgomery and I on the pregame show about a time where he had a no-hitter going through 6 innings, and I think Tony Muser came to take him out, and he was really upset and livid. This was in Los Angeles, and he went in there in Anaheim and turned over the manager's desk in his office and ripped everything to shreds. Was just absolutely livid. Well, he didn't realize the clubhouse guys put it all back together, and so Muser never knew about it at all. And then Muser gets on the plane and goes down and sits to him next to him on the plane and says, "Look, I'm sorry for taking you out, but you were a real pro about it." And Belcher, not realizing that the office had been cleaned up, and Muser had no idea, said, "Well, I'm really sorry for turning over your table and destroying your office." You did what? I like what Monty said. He could destroy a clubhouse. I think he said he could destroy a clubhouse just like Kirk Gibson, like one of the best of them. He said when it came to clubhouse destruction, Tim Belcher was up there with the best of them.
Yeah, I was there to witness a few of those.
Little check swing. Mike Avila's going to go to first base. It's his only play, and 2 outs in the inning.
Robbie's still got good stuff, and this ball's down on the way, and that's one of those swings that's one of the excuse me swings.
Wanted to pass along, Frank, a nice little birthday wish. Verla Stoll is 99 years old today. She's from Tecumseh, Kansas, and she went to her first game at Mulebach Stadium as a 12-year-old in 1923. Favorite player was Buddy Brief, favorite player in the 50s. She said, "You didn't get to know them because they all went to the Yankees." Favorite player of all time, George Brett. Current favorite player, Billy Butler. She says she loved Ladies' Day on Friday. She says you could sit in the real seats and not the bleachers. That's when the bleachers were bleachers. Big fan. Happy 99th birthday.
Definitely a happy birthday to her.
Well, Robinson Tejeda, see if he can navigate his way around just a little bit of trouble here in the inning, but just in case, a little bullpen action for the Royals. And if they could just get out of this inning and get the ball to Joakim Soria for a save in the ninth, something that they have not been able to do a lot of this year.
Yeah, that would be more of a perfect setup for manager Trey Hillman to get the 6th, 7th, 8th, and then just save Sawyer for the 9th only.
Yeah, not to have to go with that 4-out save. And certainly Joakim Soria is capable of it. He ran into a little bit of a problem in Texas as Tejeda with the strike there. And for only the second time in his career, Soria has given up home runs in back-to-back appearances. The first time it mattered. The second time was just in getting some work in.
You know, Joe, you really hope you never have to use your closer for a 4-out save. I mean, first of all, it means you're not in a position to get many wins, so you have to go out there and do that. And secondly, he wouldn't last doing a lot of 4-inning saves.
Looked like it should have been a strike there. What was it?
Well, it's right there on the corner. But you see where all these pitches are. He's kind of like all over the place. And so if the umpire is not in the umpire's strike zone, then you're not going to get it. So the more strikes you throw, the more pitches you get from the umpire. It's kind of tough to be all over the place, and all of a sudden you throw this one pitch and you don't get it. But it's all the other pitches that set the umpire's eyes up for that one pitch.
Bob McClure will meet with Tejeda and the Royals infield out there as they're now runners on first and second base, and as Drupal Cabrera, who has a single and a triple in this game, will come up as the potential tying run in this game. Never easy.
It's never easy, and at this level, it never should be easy. But you're facing a guy that's got a couple of hits already today, and he's got to make some good pitches and get him out.
You got to figure that this will be the last batter he faces one way or another. Gets the out of the inning. Soria comes in the ninth. Doesn't get it. Dusty Hughes is warming up, and the next three hitters are lefties, Sizemore, Chu, and Hefner.
Well, ideally, you don't want to use more pitchers than you have to get one out. You just want to make sure that, well, you would like to see Robinson Tejeda close this out, like you said, and not have to use Dusty Hughes.
Well, the way they've stormed back in this game, too, trailing 3-0, coming back with 6 runs as he gets the strike there to even it up at 1-1. But the game's there for the taking right now. They've got the ability to win this game. That's not something that they have had too much of. They haven't been in that winning situation, obviously losing 7 games in a row. We do know it can unravel fast, but short term and long term here as another strike, they need to win. That's the short term. Long term is if Tejeda can get, keep the momentum going.
That's true. Now you look at this pitch count. See, you got pitch 2, pitch 3 in the same area, and now you get those pitches, Joe. And like you say, you do need to continue to come out of that pen, and you need to give yourself more opportunities like the Royals have right now, and then that would take Soria a long way and to stand right in this role. But anytime you have to break that, now you're saying you're not playing very well, and you're just trying to get a win, just to get a win.
And the Royals thought coming in, Tejeda or Colon could be their setup man. Neither were able to do it. Tejeda trying to work his way back in there, almost got the swing on that pitch. But if he could solidify that role, because there have been so many question marks in that bullpen of not really knowing who to put in where, and that's tough on a manager, that's tough on a team. But if okay, Tejeda can be my setup man, now you know you have the 8th and the 9th covered.
Well, and he's a little bit more of a setup man today. If you can throw him to one inning, I think you can get that job done.
Well, that base hit is going to go up the middle, and Matt Laporta is going to come around to score. Mitch Meyer will just toss it into Mike Aviles, and so the lead has been chopped to 6-4, and Trey Hillman's going to come out to make the change that we just mentioned. Nice day for Asdrubal Cabrera as he has his 3rd hit of the day. 6-4 the score. We're back after this. Will come up right after the game as we will have highlights, reaction, interviews, and talk about this game. Zach Greinke, a big performance for him today, going 6 innings, and the offense finally opening it up. We will talk about all of that with Paul Splittorff and Nate Bukaty in just a little bit. Dusty Hughes making his 16th appearance of the game, and doing so as he often does, coming in to face the lefties.
Well, this is what you want your left-handed specialist to be able to come in and do, is get the left-handed hitters out. And the Royals went through a period where the left-handers weren't getting lefties out, and that accounts for that high ERA because you have to go through a series of right-handed hitters. But you don't want those guys coming out of the bullpen with 4 or more ERA.
Walks have obviously been a problem. We've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. But a nice sign there to see Dusty come right in, first pitch strike.
And you just got to keep piling it on and make good pitches and make the opposition put the ball in play.
Well, that ball might be in a little bit of a Bermuda Triangle. Cayaspo, with his back facing the play in foul ground, makes the catch. Not sure how he did that. Alberto Cayaspo with a beautiful catch to get Dusty Hughes and the Royals out of the inning. Wow. Then, well, who else would lead off the inning but the guy that just made the great catch? Our Chevy plays of the game, both involving Alberto Cayaspo as he went deep back in the 4th inning, his 6th home run of the year, and Kevin Seitzer loving that game-tying 3-run home run. And then, how about that? Back to the play, and Alberto Cayaspo looking, and finds it. Frank, how do you do that?
Well, he had a good chance to not only run under that ball, it floated out there. He just got to make sure that he was reaching at the right time to catch it. But to make a play like that with runs on first and second, 2 outs, and get Hughes and the Royals out of that inning, that was a huge play.
He's really done a nice job at third base for him. And there have been a few errors there, but they talk about the difference between second and third base and needing that lateral range at second, which maybe he doesn't have as much of as Kerry Wood comes into the game here in a non-save situation, just his 3rd game of the year, recently coming off the disabled list. But he seems, Cayaspo, to have the instincts, whether it be that quick line drive or the hot corner or just being able to read balls as he did there.
Well, learning, playing a position and really learning and knowing how to play takes a little time. He can make the routine plays, but he does a good job of just adjusting. And, as Shu has trouble with this ball in the sun. But, you go over there, Joe, for the first time, the things you got to realize bunt plays. You got to know how far left you can go. You got to know the people that may bunt, may not bunt. And it's all about reaction over there. And I think in time, he's learned to do a pretty good job over there. But there are always times that things pop up that you say, oh, I still got to learn this. But for the most part, he's done everything at third base that Trey Hillman's wanted him to do.
Brian Pena still looking for his first hit of the year, and again, hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to get those hits, but his 2nd start of the day. And yes, he wants that hit. He'd rather have that hit than go 0 for 4. But I think most importantly for him, if he can help get Zach that win and be a part of that, that's going to mean a lot to him. And
he'll take that first. That's first and foremost, is how he handles his pitchers in the game. And usually when you're a backup catcher, that's usually your main job. Be able to come in, call a game, get the pitchers through the game, and whatever you can do offensively is a plus for the ball club.
Jason Kendall cheering him on, as Brian telling me this morning that he would be going over the scouting reports, and told me that the two people that he really got a pick-me-up from after that rough game, his first start in Toronto, were you, Frank, and telling him, just keep your head up. A guy that's usually very positive was down on himself, and the other was Jason Kendall.
Well, Jason probably more so than myself, because Jason really understands what he's going through, because he is a catcher, and he's probably been in that situation before. But so he knows the right words, and he knows how to talk to Brian in a way that, hey, just put it behind you. You learn from it, and then you get ready for your next start.
What are the odds that Jason Kendall will be back in there tomorrow? Got a bet on that one, huh?
No, he'll be in there for sure.
A nice walk for Brian Pena. He will gladly take that. Drawing the one-out walk from Kerry Wood. And Jason Kendall last night, 2,000th career game and the 250th time in his career that he's been hit by a pitch.
It's a lot of ball games.
Mitch Meyer is going to come up now, 1 for 3 on the day, scored a run back in the 6th inning as Unieski Betancourt brought him in on a double. Big couple of two-out hits for the Royals in that 6th inning.
Joe, being a backup player, you have to be a good practice player. I mean, you have to work twice as hard as the guys a lot of times that are playing. And in Brian's case, you can't work on blocking balls in the game. You got to work on it in the bullpen, which is totally different than game action. So you have to practice your stuff and hope that it's good enough that when you go in the game, it'll work for you.
And the physical and the mental as well. I mean, he's got to go out there and call a game for Zach Greinke, and I guess you can call that game when you're sitting there in the dugout, but it's not quite the same thing. Same thing maybe for Joakim Soria, who's getting ready to come out there for the save situation. It's tough to duplicate non-save situations. There haven't been a whole lot for him. Brian Pena is running, and he will get in there for the stolen base. Well, Brian Pena with the heads-up base running there.
Well, I mean, he just never stopped, Joel. He just, I mean, they paid no attention to him, and, he said, hey, I feel better this year. I lost a lot of weight over the offseason. If they don't pay attention to me, I can take this base. And they didn't pay attention to him, and he just walked into second base.
You don't always have to be the fastest guy to get the stolen base. You just need to get the good jump.
You got to get the good jump.
First career stolen base for Brian Pena.
We will give him the base when the game is over.
I had that thing in, I think it was Texas, where when they replace the base, a kid runs out and has to put the new base in and jog. Somebody should come out there and grab the base. He could have a Ricky Henderson moment. Come on, Brian. How about third? That'll wake everybody up. Frank just gave me a look like, no. That's not going to happen. But, now that he's at second base, one out, why not? One more insurance run here for the Royals, a base hit. And
buy the base hit. Like the guy said, you're asking too much for your $2 if you want him to steal third base.
He's dancing around on second base. I don't think he's going anywhere. But, Brian hasn't had a chance to see a lot of action this year. He's going to get his money's worth.
Yeah, the one thing he's got to be careful of is the ground ball to shortstop. You get that over-aggressive secondary lead can get you in trouble.
Nasty stuff from Kerry Wood as he sends Mitch Meyer back to the dugout.
Kerry Wood's always had that great slider, and here it is right here. Now, this is Zach Greinke-like, and I'm going to say it's Kerry Wood-like because he's been doing it a little bit longer. But, this just dropped right out of right off the table.
Remember last year when the Royals had that 4-run inning to come back and win the game against Kerry Wood here at Kauffman Stadium, and he didn't have the slider. He did not have the slider, so they knew the fastball was coming every single time. Came back and won it. It was a Willie Bloomquist sacrifice RBI, walk-off sacrifice RBI. I think DeJesus scored on it, and Mike Jacobs homered in that game, or in that ninth inning as well. The next night, the slider came back, and you could see exactly when it came back, and at that point, Kerry Wood was back to one night later being Kerry Wood.
Right, that was on May 19th. It was one of the most exciting comebacks that the Raw team has ever had. But he's got that good curveball too, and I think when he was starting with the Cubs, you just saw this. You just say this guy's going to be just a tremendous starter, but kept getting hurt, and eventually just worked himself into the closer role and has done quite well.
Well, that game, if I remember correctly, it was a Mike Jacobs home run after he thought that he'd drawn a walk, and they called him back, calling it a strike. There goes Brian again. He's looking. It's his longtime friend and fellow Cuban Yunieski Betancourt is at the plate with a pair of doubles, scoring on one and driving in the RBI on the other. But Mike Jacobs had the home run in that game. Mark Teahan followed with the home run, and then I think Miguel Olivo drew a rare walk. DeJesus had a triple, and then Willie Bloomquist hit the sacrifice, and suddenly a 4-run game, or 3-run lead turned into the Royals going the other way with a win. Uni would gladly take his second or third double of the game here.
Yeah, anytime you can add on insurance runs, it makes it easier for that closer coming in.
Punches that ball over to second base. Easy out for the Indians. They will get one more crack coming up here in the ninth, but not before Joaquim Soria tries to shut it down. Just to look back at tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment, or this afternoon's moment. How about Zach Greinke in line for his first win of the year, also tying a season high with 8 strikeouts in the game. Pitch count was a little high, only able to make it through 6 innings. Sure, he would have liked to have gone deeper, but all things considered, and the bullpen has been able to hang on, he is in line for a win, something that has been eluding him all year long, for the most part, no fault of his.
Well, he did come out and pitch aggressively, Joel. Like you said, wasn't the sharpest, but he got a lot of foul balls today, and that really accounted for a lot of the pitch count. But he was able to get those big strikeouts and keep his team in the game and hold the game where it was at three runs, and Cosgrove get the three-run homer to kind of put things back in order for Zach.
Well, it is May 13th, and Joaquim Soria is looking for his first save since May 1st. A lot of that is just they haven't been in the situation. And then, of course, he ran into some trouble in Texas, giving up the back-to-back home runs to Vladimir Guerrero. Josh Hamilton and Vladimir Guerrero gets the first out, and he is getting closer to that save. And he's a guy, too, Frank, that he's always been able to put a bad night behind him. And there haven't been that many bad nights, but we've said it. Never too high, never too low, as calm as can be. He couldn't have been too happy with the situation in Texas, has the lead there, and comes in for the 4-out save and back-to-back home runs. And then he gave up a home run in his last outing here the other night against Russell Brandon in a non-save situation. But here he is in the situation that he's paid big bucks to do.
I think it's all about regular work. The more you work, the sharper you get. And I think most of this work was prior to that had been in non-save situations. And you don't have the same mentality. You want to have it. You want to have the same adrenaline drive, but it's a little bit tough. It's different between just getting work and trying to save a game as he is today.
Seven saves on the year for Joakim Soria, looking for number 8. ERA not exactly where you would expect Soria to be, and that'll work its way out if he has a bunch of solid outings. It was those 2 runs against Texas that really did him in. But the other numbers, I mean, Frank, you look at what Soria's doing, 22 strikeouts so far in the season and 3 walks. When we talk about walks being the biggest problem of the bullpen this year, he's certainly one guy that has not been part of that.
Well, he's a strike thrower, and I think that's what makes him who he is.
Throwing strikes most of the time, but behind in the count here now to Travis Hafner, who is 1 for 3 on the day. A single, a walk, a run scored. He struck out back in the 5th, the 8th and final strikeout for Zach on the day. Hafner out to left field, 2 down. Royals 1 out away from ending a 7-game losing streak. As Joakim Soria facing Austin Kearns. 1 for 3 on the day with a run scored, an RBI. He's struck out, he's walked, he's grounded into the double play. There's the executioner throwing strikes.
But the thing you like about Joakim is he works both sides of the plate, and with his fastball, and he's got the big curveball that when he has command of it is an excellent pitch for him, and also has an outstanding changeup.
Slugger's got his drum out again today, but it's just not quite as bothersome, shall we say, when there's 28,000 people here as opposed to, I don't know, there were hundreds that were left last night in the late hours after the rain delay. Mixed in with all the kids that are here today. Soria now 1 pitch away. There's the drum. See the girl in the background, she's holding her ears. Clap, clap, it's too loud. See? Well, she's trying to time it. Soria going outside and now a full count. As Ryan would say, as he's kicked back, relaxing, and hopefully recuperating at home, having lost his voice, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark.
And that's never going to change.
Never changes. And you never know what you're going to see. I know Ernie Harwell said that.
Yeah, that's the best thing about this game is that you do get a different game every day.
Oh, right on the edge. If that missed, I can't imagine it missed by much.
Well, when we look at Fox Tracks here, Joel will give us the real look And that's at the bottom of the zone, knee high, right on the outside corner. You know, Soria thinks that he's got this strike in, and manager Trey Hillman is saying, boy, my stomach is tied up in knots. Relieve it.
What more do we need to do? That's what he's thinking there. A perfect pitch for Soria. Soria, as we mentioned, never gets too high or low, so he didn't show a whole lot of the reaction, but I'm sure he's thinking inside, where does that need to be? Well, that pitch looked much better than the last one, didn't it?
Just a little bit higher. That's about it.
Hunt, the one before looked quite a bit better, but it's okay. Still 2 outs, 1 runner on first base, and Johnny Peralta is up. And quickly 0-2 for Soria. Tried to drop that in there. The 68-mile-an-hour slow curve. Split was talking, I think it was today or yesterday. I think yesterday on the pregame show with Monty. We haven't seen the slow curve a whole lot. Dropped it in there just out of the zone, though.
Well, I think with regular work you'll see it more. I think when he comes in, Joel, he's so concerned with just getting his fastball command down, and that's really the signature, and that makes those other pitches work.
Almost had him chasing.
Well, Joaquin's in a situation here, Joel, where a home run can tie the ball game. So basically, he wants to try to work primarily away. He doesn't want to throw anything to Peralta's power, and that's why you see him stand more on the outside corner.
I mean, it's hard to think about it. This is a potential game-tying situation. Even with Soria having given up home runs in each of the last 2 appearances for him, still so much confidence in this guy to do what he does, because he's been so consistent and so good in his role as closer for the Royals.
Well, yeah, what we saw in Texas was just, it was odd. You just haven't seen anything like that out of Soria, but he just left a couple changeups up and it got hit, and I think it just comes from lack of work.
Look at that, a line drive right back to Soria. The 7-game losing streak is over. Zach Greinke gets his first win of the year.